I'm a rich kid with issues. Lots of issues.
How'd you do it, Batman?
There's no time to explain, Robin.
How's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great video here on the majestic, the wonderful, the beautiful, shall I say, Savior Show. Welcome, boys, welcome. I'm pretty disabled, so a fair warning before you subscribe to his channel, but do yourself a favor and subscribe to his channel because you don't want to miss out on all of this great content that we make. Join the community, become a sinner today, become a disciple of the Savior community. We make videos from philosophical videos to exposing the corporate establishment to my music, which you can find on Spotify. Make sure you go listen to my electronic synth music. I'm sure you will like it. And if you do join the channel and you do like the show, please consider supporting the channel and just dropping a small donation on PayPal or becoming a member for extra content. Anything to support my channel grow means so much to me, you have no idea. So, with enough shilling out of the way, oh boy, another Batman game, another superhero game. What a time to be alive. We get so many goodies nowadays thanks to the modern day gaming industry and entertainment in general, okay? It's not like it's decaying slowly. It's not like all media is turning to shallow pieces of garbage, basically just repackaging and, you know, remaking things that used to be good and turning them into hollow and corporate greedy cash grabs. No, we don't live in that world. We live in a time where new and original creative ideas are born every single day, and here we have Gotham Knights. So in this video, I'm going to give you my Gotham Knights review, my Gotham Knights game review, and let me just say this first before everyone goes AWOL, okay? This is based on the preview version of the game. I have done a lot of information gathering to save you time, and I've also played a little bit of the preview build, but I've played enough that I think I can give you my honest review of Gotham Knights and my game review of Gotham Knights. I don't buy into this bullshit where you have to play the entire game to understand the atmosphere and the vibe and if it's actually a piece of shit or not, and I do think Gotham Knights sucks. The long story short, before I get into this review of Gotham Knights, is if you like Batman games and if you love Batman so much and you can't sleep at night without your Batman safety mug, if you're a die-hard DC fan, then I'm sure you will like this game. There is a lot to like here. But for the majority of gamers and people who don't give a fucking shit about Batman, and to be honest, I don't care that much about Batman. Yeah, he's a cool superhero, but in my opinion, Batman has been done to death now. Nothing to me has peaked the Dark Knight, so I'm not a massive fan of Batman. But if you liked the original Arkham series games and you liked what Rocksteady did with Batman, and to be honest, Rocksteady did an amazing job with the Batman series, and no other Batman game has come close, then you will find some enjoyment here. But for people who don't care that much and are just looking for a good game, this has a lot of issues. I'm afraid to say this, but I think Gotham Knights sucks and Gotham Knights is bad. I'm not gonna say do not buy Gotham Knights because that's up to you as the consumer, but this is how, you know, modern day gaming industry gets away with so much shit nowadays, is by just hiding the true product until it's too late, you know, showing false gameplay and marketing strategies that are just completely corrupt, paying off reviewers on YouTube that are complete slimeballs and just take the corporate cock and they want that extra money, so you can't trust them, okay? This game, it's not broken, it's not completely unfinished, but I wouldn't say it's polished, and I wouldn't say it's anywhere close to what we've seen before. So in my review of Gotham Knights, I'm just going to start off with the positives, okay? And then I'm going to talk about the negatives. So the positives of this game is there are a lot of different characters to play around with, okay? Which is pretty moist and pretty nice, okay? If you like DC, like I said, if you like these superheroes, you can play as Batwoman, you can play as Nightwing. You know, there are so many cool characters that you can play around with and experiment, and each one of them feels different and unique. I've only played a few of them. I haven't played all of them. I'm not going to pretend I have. The narrative also is pretty good and pretty strong. and it is similar to what Rocksteady did. I feel like the narrative here is pretty well written and engaging enough, especially for people who like this type of superhero narrative. And the kind of story here is interesting because it takes place after Batman is dead, and if that's not a cool setup, I don't know what is. You know, the whole city is in chaos without Batman, and it's up to the Gotham Knights, it's up to all of these different characters that you can play as to basically clear up Gotham and, you know, honor Batman's legacy. And, you know, it does deal with some interesting themes, but I've only played a few missions, so the main positive of this game, I would say, is the linear story missions. Now, everyone loved the Spider-Man games that have come out recently, and I'm just not a big fan of superhero games. That's just my personal opinion. We all have our different opinions, and we all have our different likes and dislikes. So, you know, you might love this kind of stuff, but I'm just kind of so-so on it. I'm not a big fan of superheroes, to be honest. I much prefer something with a lot more depth to it. I love Marvel. No, DC is better than Marvel. Marvel better than DC. Duh. Duh. I just find it funny how the modern world is so obsessed with superheroes. You know, we need something desperately to look up to. I just feel like superheroes are kind of like the fast food version of, you know, moral values. Rocksteady proved that superhero games can be fun and Batman games can be super immersive. So now I'm going on to the negatives of Gotham Knights and why I think Gotham Knights is bad and why I think Gotham Knights sucks. So like I said, if you like this type of game and you love Batman so much and DC, then don't let my criticisms get in the way of what you love. By all means, go out and get it. Buy it at full price. Why not? And why not just wait a few weeks and, you know, maybe don't give them all of your money? But hey, that's up to you. And I will just say the combat is also pretty good. I think it's actually better than Rocksteady's Batman series combat. You can't just counter everything. I mean, that game, you could play blindfolded with one hand behind your back. It was so piss easy. I mean, it was a joke, but it was fun. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't fun, and the story wasn't good, and the world wasn't amazing, but the combat was easy as, you know, taking a piss on yourself. Rocksteady have improved the combat, in my opinion. You know, now you actually have to dodge out of the way of some attacks, and you can't just counter everything, and it's a lot more strategic, I guess, in some ways, but it's so annoying, it's so frustrating, because the combat here could be so good, but then they just pissed it down the drain with adding all of these light RPG mechanics to it that just make it just feel, you know, like spongy and just kind of like, yeah, shit, to be honest. But it is still better, in my opinion. So now let's get on, like I said, to the negatives. So first of all, the consoles, from what I've gathered so far, this might change in a patch, but it's locked at 30 FPS, which isn't that great, especially for, you know, 2022, and gaming, it's just kind of a joke, to be honest. The Batman Arkham series, I know this is a completely different game, but of course you can't help but compare the two because they are both set in the same location. They both are basically very similar in vibe and atmosphere, and you can tell that Gotham Knights is trying to borrow a lot of elements from, you know, what Rocksteady did with Batman. But basically, Batman Arkham, it did so much better with the world building, the art style, the graphics, the vibe, and certain elements of the combat, which I've already talked about. You know, Rocksteady were masters at creating this immersive Batman world, and going around Gotham, you would feel super immersed. But here, it's a lot more like a kind of comic booky approach. It doesn't have such a serious level of tone or immersion, and they've got a lot of these RPG-light systems with, you know, loot and combat, which just makes it feel just more gamey, and I don't like that, to be honest. Now here I'm showing you some Arkham footage, and the world is just so much more detailed in a much older game, which is just so showing of what the gaming industry has become now. Developers have become so lazy when it comes to putting in any kind of detail, any kind of new features or gameplay mechanics. You know, it's all about the end product now. It's not about creating something with, you know, detail and care and love and attention. And to be honest, it just shows in the gameplay. The exploration in the open world segments are basically non-existent because there's nothing going on in this open world. It doesn't feel alive Maybe that will get patched, maybe they will add more NPCs, more dynamic events going on in the world, but so far, it's empty, okay? And yeah, I just don't recommend it, in all honesty. But if you love Batman and you love DC, then maybe give it a try. But I do not recommend this because it just feels unfinished and it just feels worse compared to a Batman game that we've already played, which came out years and years ago. To ask for so much money for a product that is inferior to something else in the past, to me, that's just, you know, the modern day gaming industry now, and I don't support it. You know, by pre-ordering, by buying these kind of lazy games, that's how games get diluted, in my opinion, so we shouldn't do that. But if you are looking for something to play, you know, as just a bit of fun, or you are super focused on the multiplayer aspect, then definitely maybe this will be up your alley. Ooh. So that is my review of Gotham Knights. I hope you enjoyed the video, but what I will say is this game truly makes you feel like being one of Batman's little butt buddies, and that's a A- in my books.